For Watford Gap Services. It's 50 years old today. And do you know why it's called Watford Gap?
Did you tell me?
Well, people think I am an expert. I'm not an expert in many things, but my specialist subject is Watford Gap. And it's not Watford in Hertfordshire. It's Watford, which is near the village of Watford in Northamptonshire. And the reason it's called Watford Gap is because it's in a gap in the hills where the road, the canal, and the motorway and the railway line all go through. That's why it's called Watford Gap Services.
I have learnt something, and tonight is the premiere of Watford Gap the musical. It's being shown at the service station, of course, and Joe Black is on the red carpet. Joe.
I am indeed. Welcome to Watford Gap, the musical, the world premiere. Look, this is the programme, and this is the red carpet that you mentioned. And if you just come in here, this is the specially invited audience. Say hello, boys and girls. In here are some of the cast members that feature in the musical. It celebrates 50 years of the M1 and the service station itself, and it brings together their memories to music. And it is slightly bizarre. Take a look.
11,000 visitors every day. Watford Gap. Identical on both sides of the carriageway.
At 50 years old, Watford Gap Services has developed iconic status, and some of these people remember how it all started.
The shimmering temple on the motorway.
Watford Gap the musical is an extraordinary piece of work, reliving the service station's history.
You've been serving the M1 24/7 for 50 years.
We've got people who remember waving, standing on a bridge and waving down at the M1 when it first opened. We've got other people who remember getting autographs from people like the Yardbirds, Dave Clark 5. So all those stories are encapsulated in this sort of mini musical.
The two-day shoot took place alongside normal business at Watford Gap. Commuters and day trippers were somewhat bemused, and regular cafes turned into makeshift green rooms as members of the cast swapped stories from days gone by.
M1, Britain's first motorway, is the beginning of a new deal for drivers on the country's...
The opening of the M1 back in 1959 was a revelation. The big road connecting London to the Midlands and the North.
Reversing and turning on the motorway is an offence which could cost you £20 in a magistrate's court. This is also an offence. Motorways are for motoring, not for parking and picnic parties.
So with picnics forbidden, motorists needed somewhere to stop on the M1. The Blue Boar Cafe became the nation's first ever service station. People even made special trips for the fine dining experience. And it became a stopping point for world-famous musicians.
We used to cycle down here and get our autograph books out and wait for the groups to arrive. And we used to sort of hang around and somebody would say, "Oh, look, there's the Rolling Stones over there," and you'd run over there with your autograph book, get a signature, and just hang around waiting for the next group to come, really. And it was just a fun thing to do.
Watford Gap, where north meets east and south meets west.
After tonight's premiere, the musical will be available to view online. And as for Watford Gap itself, well, it's still as famous as ever.
Well, this is the screen where Watford Gap the musical will be shown in about 5 minutes' time, and I'll give you details about how you can see it if you're at home. But first, let's have a quick chat with Toby Friedner from Radio Northampton. It was commissioned by yourselves. Like, people keep asking me, who came up with the idea?
Well, it was a joint thing, really. I mean, we wanted to find something that would involve the audience, that would get the community involved in something, and this was the project. I mean, they provided not just the voices and the actors and the memories, but also things like a double-decker bus, an old Wolsey car. I mean, they did so much for us. We couldn't have asked for more. It was amazing.
Brilliant. Thank you, Toby. Well, Terry Green used to come here in the 60s. You were in a band, Terry, when this was a mecca for the musical world, wasn't it? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I used to be in a local band, actually, but we used to come down here to mix with the big guys, you know, and when the autograph hunters used to queue up, we used to sort of get on the end of the celebrities and sign all the autograph books, you know, and so most probably a lot of girls around here had my autograph under false pretences, really.
And what was the band that you were in, just quickly?
I was in a band called the Deltics.
I've never heard of it.
No.
Well, well done for being in this musical and enjoy your newfound stardom. Well, let me tell you about how you can view this if you're at home. If you log on to www.bbc.co.uk/Northampton, you can see it, like I say, in about 5 minutes' time. So from Watford Gap, the services, good night.
Oh, what a crowd.
Well, I know. Well, it's a Watford Gapathon, because tonight on Inside Out, I've been up and down the motorway meeting the people who remember it being built. I don't sing. That's here on BBC One at 7:30.
But you are going on Mastermind soon as a specialist subject.
Yeah, as my specialist subject, yes.
Jules.
Thanks, Susie. Well, it's hard to believe we're in November. October 2009 turned out to be a very mild month. The highest official recorded temperature on the 6th in Wittering, where we had 20 degrees Celsius, not just in Cambridgeshire, but across much of the rest of the region. That's 4 degrees Celsius above normal for that time of year. And not only was it mild by day, but mild by night too. For example, in Mendham in Suffolk last year, they had 11 ground frost during October. This year, just 1. And October brought some wetter weather after a very dry August and September. But having said that, the rainfall figures in most places actually turned out to be below normal. So one of the dry spots, Bedford, they only had 28 millimetres. That's just over an inch of rain. Wattisham in Suffolk, one of the wetter spots, 52 millimetres, so just over 2 inches. But again, this was below normal for the time of year. And there is more rain on the way. If I show you the radar picture, there it is. That